Oh, he's in the files. We knew he'd be in the Epstein files. The stake starts now. Good evening and welcome to The Stakes. I'm Tara Setmayer. This is the Michelle Kinney. We are the co-founders of the Seneca Project. And we have a show for you tonight. We have our special guest coming up in 1 minute, who is a friend of the show. And we had to have someone who's a lawyer because neither one of us are, and we don't play them on TV. Because we're going to talk all things Epstein because you can't get away from it. Donald Trump wishes he could get away from it, but he can't get away from it either. And the big news is he's in the files. How do we know? Because the Wall Street Journal has continued to break stories because the drip, drip, drip is turning into more of a full stream. And first, we had the story. They had the story last week about him and the doodle. And now, even after the lawsuit, they said, we don't care. Rupert Murdoch said, F you, we don't care. We've got more. Now we find out that the Justice Department, in fact, informed Donald Trump that his name was in the files back in May, which explains why he has lost his shit for the last couple of weeks about the Epstein story. And so,
and even more so why Elon Musk. Now, the timing of all of this is really quite interesting because it wasn't long after this meeting that Elon Musk tweeted out, Donald Trump is in the files. And then he subtweeted, hold on to this or save it for later. And then he deleted it 2 days later. So, you know.
That's right. There's a reason that happened on June 5th when Elon Musk texted that, which really set this ball rolling into the inferno that it has become now. And we're going to bring in our good friend, legal analyst extraordinaire, host of the Talking Feds, Harry Litman, to talk to us all about it because, you know, we can pontificate all we want, but we need the legal backup. We need the legal backup, Harry. Welcome back.
Calling legal. Hey, Michelle. Hey, Tara. So nice to be with you guys on The Stakes. Great show you got going.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Harry. I mean, I was just with you on Talking Feds, which everyone, if you do not listen to Harry's podcast, please download, like, and subscribe to the Talking Feds. It is fantastic. Not just because I was a guest, but in general, he always has really smart people on and smart conversation. But you were the perfect person, Harry. I'm so glad it worked out because there is a lot of legal stuff happening and a lot of bait and switch and look over here and we're going to ask for grand jury stuff. We're not going to release that. I mean, it's a lot because clearly Donald Trump is flustered. He has not been able to quell the story. This has been going on since we just mentioned in the intro, since Elon Musk and Trump got into their little bitch fight on Twitter. And Elon was like, by the way, boom, dropping the hammer. You're in the Epstein files. And ever since then, Trump has been just unhinged about this. Now we know why. How big is this? And is this something that Donald Trump should be afraid of? Are we looking at, is it as explosive as we all think it is or no?
Okay, well, so first, he's obviously afraid of it in political terms. And as you say, secrets are not well kept in Washington. We also know Kash Patel told people he is in the files. I'm going to be switching hats today, Tara and Michelle, from law enforcement to politics or pundit. So on the law enforcement side, the first thing that came to my mind when it turns out he's in the files, and the report was they told him so in May, under the very well-established rules to which these guys seem to have laid waste, you may not do that, and everyone knows you may not do that. You can't just go and tell anyone, including the president. It is totally clear, oh, you're in the files. Now,
why not? Why not? Because the people may wonder, like, it seems like, well, why not? If you're in it, you might want to be like, hey, buddy, you're in it. Why can't you?
Yeah. So think about it. You've got files now with hundreds of people. If you start telling this person or that person, you're violating privacy rights, you're potentially prejudicing an investigation. You don't, unless they are, when they ripen to the point of they're about to be charged, you tell them. But until then, the integrity of the investigation demands it. But the main point I want to say is it's really clear. So she sat there in May and told him he was, and there was a pending investigation. Way wrong. I'll return to that in a moment, because now let's say there wasn't a pending investigation. She just wanted to let him know. And that seems like what is kind of going on now, but that's not what the Department of Justice does. Todd Blanche is trotting out now to talk to Ghislaine Maxwell in jail today. What law is he enforcing? What is his role? He seems to me to be a freelance globetrotter for Donald Trump's political interest, hoping maybe to get her in contradiction of what we've heard the last few days from Epstein's ex-girlfriend, one of the victims, Epstein's brother, who says all of them, they were thick as thieves, and he's the wingman and the bestie. So that point one, something is really wrong and funky here. If there's an investigation, they should never, ever have done this. And if there isn't, which is what it seems, what the hell is going on? And that's really the answer, the best answer I can give to your main question: how afraid should Trump be? He's clearly very afraid. He's tried many things to change the subject. This whole grand jury thing, if we get into it, is a total bogus and diversion. The Wall Street Journal defamation thing from his playbook, stupidest thing he could have done. But part of it is to change the subject. Now, why is it? Because I think the subject is threatening to him on political grounds, and in a way nothing else has been. You know, he steamrolls the Constitution every day, does all kinds of stuff, but his MO has been, as long as my base is with me, it's even better that you get the libs all hot and bothered. Now we have, for the first time, an issue that they seems to be more important to them than even Donald Trump. You've seen some remarkable distancing or insults from what we thought were Trump and MAGA faithful, but they're coming apart. And I think it's hard for us to appreciate, but this basic issue, the conviction that there is a worldwide kind of cabal in, finance, educate, everything, but also to include pedophilia. They really believe that Epstein is the gateway to all of that, which means if he shows up a lot in the files, 1.5 million pages, we know he wrote, for example, many times on his plane, etc. So even if he's not, unclad in the files, it seems to me he's set up for a bad political situation that at a minimum paralyzes him, and maybe worse. And that's what he's fighting against. And so far, that as a political effort, and I'll shut up after this, the main thing is the political cost pushback from the base that's always been his being in power. Those are the risks. I don't see right now, he's gonna, even if he committed crimes, of course, we know that the Supreme Court has said he can't be held for them. So this big question now, how much is he in there, et cetera, strikes me as a political crisis and not a law enforcement one now, which again just raises the point: what the hell is the Deputy Attorney General in the United States doing, paying a personal visit to Ghislaine Maxwell today?
Well, right. And that's the thing that is so perplexing, is that it's a political issue for him, but yet he's using the legal system to try to prove a point or make an argument. And that's and that's the thing that is just kind of mind-blowing. And I don't know if his base is seeing that Todd Blanche is meeting with Ghislaine Maxwell today, what that means, but there's a lot of chatter online and within, at least our group chats about, is he going to pardon or commute the sentence of Ghislaine Maxwell, because she's in there for 20 years and she doesn't want to be.
Sex trafficking, for
sex trafficking
the crimes
children.
that
5 of the 6 counts.
Right. And one perjury. Right.
And
she's got 2. I think she's got 2 convictions for perjury in her record, but that's right.
I mean, this a horrible human being. I mean, deserves to be there for the rest of her life, in my opinion. But, who's to say, is she leaking stories to the Wall Street Journal? We don't know, but she clearly has all the information. She knows all the players. And so, if he were to pardon her or commute her sentence to, hold the strings over her forever. What would that do to the base? I mean, because politically, I think it matters more than anything. Right?
So first, that last sentence you said, Michelle, is exactly right. And that's what they're all roiled over now in the White House. What indeed, would it do? Would they give him a pass? He's tried, right, he's tried to do different strategies of like, I've given you stuff, now enough.
Yeah.
He's sort of barked at them and say, stop with this. None of it is working. So if she can now, but again, what happened? Why is the Deputy Attorney General asking, can you do something to quell a political scandal? And then maybe we'll give you a pardon. As to the pardon point, the pardon power, Deputy Attorney General isn't like this, but the pardon power, if he wants to do it, we know, and we've seen it again and again, he can do it however outrageous it might be. Not clear he can make a little quiet promise for it to do it later. But again, Supreme Court
who
said there won't be a crime here,
right,
so what are the consequences? But, it does seem to me that whether he's in there, a lot of people in there, we have reason to think, whether he's there in this role or that role, whether he's there 7 times or 700, whether he's there as his homie or, a cast, one in the cast of characters, all plays out for now on the political scale. But that's, he has evaded again and again legal consequences. And you're so right, Michelle, that he tries to leverage the legal stuff as much as he can for his goals. But that really is the question they're wrestling with. And I'll just say, this is the first really we'd heard about Pizzagate, which just seemed like spooky. This is the first time I've seen the vehemence of the MAGA base over just this issue. And it just seems clear to me 2 things. They're doing anything and everything they can to change the subject, and it ain't working. So now that's a way of assessing where we are and where he is in political terms. And that really has to do with how things are going to play out over the next few weeks. If I were betting, though, they seem to have redoubled several times just in the last week, and they're not placated. So that's what's going to matter. Just one other quick notice, not just for him, right? Did you see Mike Johnson? People are scared of the MAGA response, and that also has the possibility of, somewhat pulling apart what's been a razor edge overall consensus for Trump. So I just see a lot of political possible stuff and not legal stuff yet, except he wagered everything on the Wall Street Journal not having the piece of paper. That just ain't gonna work.
Was that like $10 billion? He's
which
might as well be trillion. I mean,
he throws around numbers, and he's been successful in a couple settlements, but it's had nothing to do with the cases, which have been crappy. It's because he's been able to leverage executive Wall Street Journal, and we're talking about the news side of the Wall Street Journal, is obviously not going for that, ready for war and going to wage it. So on the and plus deposition, other discovery. So the defamation case isn't going to end well for him. Again, that's the question is how does that play politically? Because the biggest thing is he can delay it, and then I guess they were right all along.
Yeah, there's a couple points here. So the lawsuit against the Wall Street Journal, I don't know who's advising Trump this time around, but he clearly doesn't have the same minds that he had the first time around, because anyone worth their salt would have told him that is a stupid thing to do, that Rupert Murdoch, who owns the Wall Street Journal, has enough money to actually fight this and not lose a wink of sleep over it, because it's a drop in the bucket for him. He's a billionaire a gazillion times over. And also they control Fox News and the Wall Street Journal as well. So it's like, do you really want to go there? Because if Fox wants to decide that they want to start telling their viewers what's actually going on, because usually they shield Donald Trump from these types of stories and from his constituents, his MAGA people don't know half of the accusations against Donald Trump or what's really going on, because they never run the stories, and that's all people watch, or Newsmax or the other wacko stations. But they could start doing it like they just did by publishing a piece by Ned Price, who was a Obama guy, on the whole Tulsi Gabbard, Obama, Russia hoax stuff, and how this is dangerous and crazy. And MAGA world is losing their minds over it, because they're like, wait a minute, this is published on Fox Opinion, like foxnews.com. Right. So this is an interesting dynamic that we've never seen before. So on that side,
because and just want to say, here's a very interesting question. Did the Journal already have this story when they published? Of course. And now what does that mean?
Ironclad.
So
there's more.
Okay, Donald Trump, you want to play that way?
Yes.
And get ready for Monday. And a week from Monday to fix this up. They went through such trouble and learned so much, and they're in a position. I think you put it. Drip, drip, drip turns to firestorm. Like
that's right.
And they got to be just like, cowarding in their shoes and because. What have we brought on us? Thanks very much, Mr.
That's
Trump.
right.
Yeah.
That's right. Just as the timeline, the Wall Street Journal published the story about Donald Trump writing the note in the birthday album that was kind of vulgar. All right. And then he tried to say, I don't doodle, I don't do that. And it was like, yes, you do. You like auction stuff off. We already know.
Provably a lie.
Right. Provably false. Then he sues them. And they're like, yeah, okay. We're not worried about that because we know we have the goods and you don't really want discovery. This is just you just trying to intimidate us. F you. We're not going to be intimidated.
It's just your playbook, but it doesn't work. It's
right. It doesn't work.
And this just in, by the way, I've said from the start, there's just some hydraulic force that gets this kind of document out, and it'll be sooner rather than later. I don't know if you saw, we learned today that the Epstein estate has a copy of this special keepsake for him. It can be subpoenaed. Of course, the people who would subpoena it would normally be the federal government, but are they not really enforcing law, but doing politics here? But that's coming out. That's coming out. And remember, they didn't just, he could try to say, AI fake or whatever, but they didn't just report that it existed. They reported that DOJ officials examined it.
That's right.
And
right.
They've got the goods
and made a decision. Too. Right.
I would suspect that the Wall Street Journal has some type of either a copy of it or a photocopy of it, something more substantial, because they would never run with that.
No, Rupert Murdoch would never allow that, especially anything News Corp. He's not going to allow anything that is like ironclad proof that this exists. And then
with lawyers in the room to decide. I mean, they
exactly. They have general. They have exactly.
This isn't the Inquirer. Okay. The Wall Street Journal, however you feel about them, they are a legit high standard news organization.
And the more
their whole
serious
reputation's now on the line. They can't. I mean, they just can't cave, and it can't be that they don't have it. And anyone with any sophistication saw that right away. So this,
Yeah. And the thing that really has like my tinfoil hat going is that JD Vance flew to Montana 2 days before that first story broke to meet with Rupert Murdoch by himself. Now, I don't know. Listen, JD Vance has no morals. He has no spine. He's just wherever the wind is blowing and whoever's putting money in his pocket. Usually that's Peter Thiel. And he's a member of Opus Dei. Like there's all these things going on with JD Vance that he's got a history of putting Trump down he was a never Trump guy. He's America's Hitler. Now he's his vice president. How this isn't bothering Donald Trump, I don't know. There's something going on here.
And JD Vance has he realized he's kind of been nowhere to be found on this.
Right.
He was just up in Nantucket getting protested for all of his comments in the past and how they don't want him there. But he was up there at a big dollar donor, $250,000 per couple event in Nantucket. He's going on vacation over to England with his family. He was just in Disney World. Like, your president is in the middle of a huge scandal where you're supposed to be his wingman, like, no pun intended given the circumstances with Epstein, but like you're supposed to be his right hand defender, and you are I don't have anything to do with this.
Yeah,
So
I wonder what he could be thinking.
Of
And
course.
remember, he did come out with one thing.
That was it.
He
That was like 2
mirrored
weeks
Trump's,
ago.
outrage, but then he said, "Let's see the notebook." He knows, like everyone knows, the notebook is real. Why? So yeah, I mean, I'm not sure why it is that the total kind of lawlessness of the administration, I have some guesses, coincides with really poor discipline, really backbiting, all kinds of leaks. In some ways, as stark a difference as anything between the Obama administration, no drama Obama, and Trump. But the kind of rule he has, the caprice of it, the nastiness, somehow to me really does promote vicious infighting. So we know Kash Patel told people, let's say, why did he do that? And yes, JD Vance. And if nothing else, I think your point, Michelle, is really good, that Trump is like, why did he do that? He's so thin-skinned and so loyalty obsessed.
To cover their own asses.
That's paranoid. And he's so paranoid. And this is where, like, if I wanted to needle him, like, this is where you give him the message. Hey, Donald Trump, JD Vance, he used to not like you. Can you trust him? Who is he even?
Yeah. And now he's hanging out with your buddy Rupert Murdoch, who you're suing. I mean, there's so many things. But I want to ask you a couple other legal questions while we have you in the last few minutes here, Harry. So there's another.
That can't be. You get wow, that was fast. You can keep me a little longer if you want.
That's okay. So there another bombshell story came out in the last 24 hours with video, which is always just so much more damning, of Jeffrey Epstein in I believe it was a deposition, being asked if he had ever been in a room with young girls and Donald Trump. We have the clip. Let's play that.
Had a personal relationship with Donald Trump.
What do you mean by personal relationships?
Have you socialized with him?
Yes, sir.
Yes?
Yes, sir.
Have you ever socialized with Donald Trump in the presence of females under the age of 18?
Though I'd like to answer that question, at least today, I'm going to have to assert my 5th, 6th, and 14th Amendment rights, sir.
Well. Oh, Tara, I think you're on mute.
Can you please explain why, and I believe I tweeted this out, for the Trumpers and the MAGAs in the back that need to be reminded why people plead the 5th, and why would he invoke the 6th and the 14th, but the 5th most important, because I believe Donald Trump said that only if you're guilty do you plead the 5th. But just remind folks, Harry, why do people plead the 5th usually?
Yeah. And, as a rule of law guy, I don't want to be too reflexive about this. There can be good strategic reasons that you think, you're in an impossible situation. But first, 5th, 6th, 14th, it's just the 5th. The lawyers, the 6th is the right to counsel, 14th incorporated. So this is a state court litigation. That's why he did the whole thing. But he has obviously been instructed that anything that involves his relationship with Trump could tend to incriminate him. Now, yes, if you want to go galloping away with that, contrary to the, what the law says of like, don't assume, what would it be? It would be because when they were not just together, but they were violating the law in some way. So let me try, because I know I'm, don't have much time left with you guys, just to sort of say that this would be the total top thing he'd be worried about, is some kind of criminal exposure. But wow, we'd have to go through so much, including at this Department of Justice, to charge him, or with a special counsel. Then there's all this political muck as it's coming out, and that's going to be, the bigger it is, the worse I think it is with MAGA. But yes, at the end of the day, whoa, is this catnip for the Congress and the country. And
circumstantially, it's just circumstantially, right? We're not going to be like letters of the law.
Well, let me make a quick analogy. Remember the Access Hollywood tape? As you said, he couldn't deny it. So here's how he played it. I was an idiot, locker room talk, etc. He could certainly have said with Epstein, you know, I was juvenile. I did that drawing. It was stupid. I fell out with him, which he did over a real estate deal 20 years ago. End of story. But he is not doing that. And it, you know, could be because his stupid instincts, or it could be because if they dredge up the Donald Trump part, and by the way, this is all in an FBI file called it's their special word compilation file. You push a button, if a lot of Trump comes up there, including this stuff, the idea is politically he's at best paralyzed, right? This, you know, we're a quarter of the way until the midterms, and without MAGA, he's sort of nothing, right?
Mm-hmm. No, I think muted, yeah. You're still mute.
Yeah. Sorry, Steve Bannon said all they need to leave, if they lose 1 or 2% of MAGA, if they stay home or they whatever, Democrats could win 40 seats in the midterm. So they are clearly nervous about this.
Yeah.
And the smart people like Steve Bannon, however you feel about him, they understand the numbers. And they understand, that's right, he's an evil genius, and they understand the fallout politically for them. Because as we know, Donald Trump controls all of the levers of the Justice Department and law enforcement. So he installed these jerk-offs there, Pam Bondi and Kash Patel and all these people to be his henchmen, to protect him from all of these things, right? The other report was that Pam Bondi and Kash Patel, they instructed 24-hour FBI review of these files to see if Donald Trump's name was in it. Like that is not a great use. That right there would get anybody else removed as AG or as
what law
FBI.
Enforcement people do. Right. That's what political helpers do.
Of course.
Right.
That's who they are. That's who they are.
Exactly. Michelle, do you have another question? I have one more before we let Harry go. It's about the Obama situation with Tulsi Gabbard and her accusation.
Oh, I actually just have a short clip. It's Kash Patel. This actually, I saw it resurface yesterday. It's Kash Patel talking to Benny Johnson about the importance of the Epstein files and how important it is that we release them. And I just think for context, it's important.
Same thing with Epstein's list. It's like, what the hell are these Republicans doing? Oh,
I saw you
give out the list.
I saw you make news this morning about that. I got to get to that.
Yeah.
You say that the FBI has Epstein's list. They're sitting on it. That doesn't seem like something you should do. You're protecting the world's foremost predator. That seems like an evil thing to do, regardless of who may be embarrassed in the release of that list. Why is the FBI protecting the greatest pederast, the largest scale pederast in human history?
Simple, because of who's on that list.
I mean, this is where I'm just like, do these people think that we're doofuses, that we can't Google stuff and look things up and go find things that they've talked about? It's really bonkers. And not to segue here, but I just think about how MAGA and the podcast universe, they just run their mouths constantly. And we're looking at Candace Owens right now, who's being sued by Macron in France and his wife, which, I mean, she must be shaken in her boots. And I just really quick, Harry, I just was interested to know, like, what kind of legal exposure does she have here in the United States being sued overseas?
Not a lot, but it's not like going after someone in the Soviet Union or someone we don't have a treaty with. If they actually start an investigation, they actually had mainly what it would sort of develop into is people not telling the truth. But again, what strikes me, I've got my fuddy-duddy law enforcement hat on, but everything Patel's saying, really, just even that you talking about her, that is not federal law enforcement. That is some freelance try to mitigate the damage of a burgeoning political scandal. So really, before you even get to that point, it's like, what the hell are they doing?
Well, in the final thing, and I apologize, my sound is acting a little crazy. So if I go out, Michelle, just pick it up. This whole thing, speaking of distraction and politics, right? We've seen Tulsi Gabbard, another person who has no business being anywhere near the position that she's in as a DNI, questionably a Russian asset. And people are like, what? Why you're now that overseeing all 18 intelligence agencies. What are you doing? So why is it's not a shock to any of us who've been paying attention that she would basically be a shill for Trump and for Russian talking points when it comes to Russia's interference in the 2016 election, which, I mean, enough is enough. We've litigated this multiple times, not only in Congress, but in, Robert Mueller's report. We all know it's indisputable that Russia tried to interfere in the election. Did they change votes? No, but we all know they wanted Donald Trump to win. I wonder why. Look at Donald Trump and what he's done with Russia. So because Donald Trump can't get this Epstein story out, he trots Tulsi Gabbard out to say, oh, we found it. We've got the smoking gun here. Barack Obama committed treason and was doing a quiet coup, which is a term she used, which is not what a coup is, by the way, during Trump's first term. And he, this is criminal and we've got all the evidence. And she's just trotting out this old information from the Senate committee report that Marco Rubio authored, bipartisan, that it's just crazy. But my question to you that people are probably wondering is, could they actually go after President Obama, arrest him and prosecute him, even if it's some kind of, political retribution and it's a bullshit prosecution? Could they actually do this? And if so, yes. If not, why not?
Yeah. So we have with these guys again and again a version of could they actually, and they seem to be pushing that again and again. Could they actually? Well, look, we see them really manufacturing cases that don't exist as well as squelching ones that do. In some ways they're the limits of actually prosecuting, bringing a case is when you don't have to be honest about it or show that things are just set by your brazenness. That said, from the first step of this, everybody would be arrayed against them, the people, the courts, etc. So the short answer, Tara, again, that we have legal technical things. Can they? What's to stop them? Prosecutors have great power to just suggest. But that won't be happening. And there's really a sense in which they poked the bear a little, and the grown-up Obama came down and gave a spanking to Trump. Like, God, don't even think about it, you political moron.
He called him weak. He said it was weak and nonsense. But
so,
what about
the way. But so much of this is just political, especially with the Supreme Court decision. So this is what I think Obama did. I remember in the campaign, but that works.
But what about
it ain't going anywhere.
But what about the Trump v. U.S. case where the SCOTUS, came ruling that said there's immunity? Wouldn't that apply to Barack Obama too?
And they kept using the SEAL Team 6 as an example of, like, you could send SEAL Team 6 to go, assassinate your political opponents, and it would be legal because it's an official act.
Right. So would that apply if they tried? Wouldn't that come back to be like, wait a minute, Supreme Court said that even Obama would get that immunity too, if in fact, let's say he did do what you claim.
So he would, but man, we are talking about cotton candy buildings in the sky. But the argument, if you want me to put on the mustache and be is that it would come down to, was he, as part of his official action, doing this nefarious? But if it's just in the sort of area, we know Trump can literally do no wrong criminal wise. He's just talking with the DOJ. That's how they sort of define the area. So even with indulging everything, I think that's right. You're talking about an area of operations that he would have immunity for, but I'm piling inference on inference on inference, including a lousy, not fully well-reasoned opinion. But let me take a step back and just say, with my normal, sane citizen software, that ain't going nowhere.
All right. Well, Harry, yes, a quick answer. If you could predict, does Ghislaine Maxwell get a commutation and get out of prison? Will she still be in prison a month from now?
Right. Political question, of course. My prediction is yes, she will still be in prison a month from. There's just so much involved and so many things to check off of, and so much scrutiny if they try to do it otherwise. I actually think if they try to do it, they would give her a wink and say, we'll do it in a couple years. You know, this kind of sentence, this person, I just think that's like stepping on a hornet's nest for MAGA.
We'll see.
Everything but the actual sex, you know, she did with Maxwell. She facilitated, groomed, everything. You know.
Recruited children. Recruited children.
That's right.
Yeah. I mean, she was the first point of contact. She was, you know, oh, I see somebody good. You know.
Yeah. And as a woman especially, like I think about that, and because women are often seen as like a safe place for children to go to if they're in trouble or anything like that, and to be vulnerable. And then to have that weaponized is just honestly the worst crime, you know, to humanity possible.
Somebody just committed suicide. You know, these 16, 17-year-old, it wrecked their lives.
Virginia Giuffre,
she was a big one. Yeah.
Yes. Yep. Well, Harry Litman, as always, it is a pleasure, my friend. Thank you so much. And we will talk to you soon. We're going to hold you to that prediction. We'll see.
All right.
Thanks, Harry.
Thanks, Harry.
Go the stakes. Okay, bye.
I love Harry. He's the best.
He's the best.
He makes legalese and legal talk fun.
Oh yeah,
you know?
He makes it fun and also accessible because he explains things in a way that a normal, you know, muggle can understand.
Right.
And you know, I remember the last time he was going to join us. I don't know if you remember this. Was the fires in California.
That's
we were like 10-15 minutes out from starting the show, and he called and was like, I'm so sorry, like the fire's heading towards my house, I have to leave. And he's like, I'm so sorry.
And he was like so apologetic.
I know, I'm like, don't be sorry, you're fine.
There's an inferno headed toward your way. I think that's an excuse, a good enough excuse for you to not be able to make our live shot. He's like, maybe if I'm in the parking lot. Like he was still even thinking, we're like, stop it.
No,
like take care of yourself and your family and your home.
Yeah, so nice, so nice.
Love him. Well, just want to talk about a couple other things before we wrap the show tonight, because there's a lot going on, but we really wanted to focus on the Epstein stuff because it has really spiraled into this absolute mess. Yeah. And, you know, however you feel about Lanny Davis, Lanny was on Michael Smerconish's program earlier today, and Lanny is, you know, he's a long time.
I was like, why don't I know who that is?
Oh, yes, you do. He was a long time Clinton associate. He's one of the gurus in crisis communications. He's a big lawyer. Like when you're in big shit trouble, you call Lanny Davis to help you get out of it. And he wrote a book about how to handle crisis communications. And the basic principle is, and we've all learned that. I mean, he was. Yeah, I mean, I learned this in the 90s.
I see.
Yeah.
I recognize
and I even think Michael Cohen hired him. He was on Michael Cohen's team, I think, at one point, but I could be wrong. Right. Is that you get the story out there, you put it all out there, you take the hits out the front, and then you keep it moving, because you take away from the other side the whole drip, drip, drip thing. Right. You control the narrative. So even though it goes against your instinct as a human being to just like let it all out there, even if it's really bad, most people would be like, I don't want that. But he's like, trust us. People will forgive you at some point, usually. Yeah. If you're honest and upfront about it. Yep. You know what? I'm in the Epstein files. I knew the guy for a long time and we hung out a lot, but then I found out
nobody likes a liar.
Right. Like I didn't know what was going on. I found out. We stopped being friends.
Even if it's bullshit. Even if it's bullshit. People are willing to, unfortunately, forgive the wrong people, you know, for doing heinous crimes. But it's so funny. Every time you say drip, 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 Tara, and when we were saying it earlier, I was like, you know what? I don't want to go down this rabbit hole, but like all I keep thinking about is when Trump. Oh no! Like when Trump complains about the water pressure in his shower, and he's like, and it goes drip, drip.
Yeah, the weird obsession he has with toilets flushing and showers.
Right, those little drip, drip, drips, my friend.
I thought you were going to say Giuliani and the drip, drip, drip of the hair dye at Four Seasons Landscaping, which is another famous drip.
Well, right, and you know, I think also in all of this, Tara, is he's not a young man.
No. And
he's very clearly not well. They came up with some story. I mean, maybe it's true, but I honestly think that this like Venus, whatever it is that they said he had, I think is probably like the 2 pages of his tax returns that were leaked. I think there's a lot more going on there. I'm not a doctor, so I just want to say I'm not speculating here, but a friend of mine reached out to me whose father passed from congestive heart failure and kidney failure. And she said, when I saw that video of him at FIFA, she was
familiar.
like, that is what my father looks like, because she had moved home to take care of her dad in his final days on earth, or months. And she dealt with that. And she's like, that's what he looked like. So who's to say? And he's watching people around him pass. I mean, Ozzy Osbourne passed away yesterday. I don't know if you saw this. Hulk Hogan died.
And
that's his buddy.
Yeah.
At 71.
Uh-huh. I know. And, I mean, he is deathly afraid of dying. And
yes.
Mary Trump has written about this, and it's part of his paranoia. He thinks that all that stuff gives him the heebie-jeebies. That's why he doesn't like to be around disabled veterans or in hospitals, or he has no,
like, grosses him out.
Right. And so now that he's facing down his own mortality, he's even more like weirded out about it.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, I mean, look,
right.
Look, Donald Trump is probably one of the most vile people
mm-hmm.
to ever walk the planet.
I don't think people realize
how horrible
the stories. Now, there was a case that was filed, I believe, before the 2016 election, and she was threatened beyond an inch of her life. And it was a Jane Doe case. And she was like a child, like 13 years old, being, sexually assaulted or had sex with Donald Trump when she was a child. Now,
that's the allegation.
That's the allegation. That's the allegation. This is the court case. You can go look it up. But, where there's smoke, there's fire. Where there's one, there's more. And, these are not isolated incidents.
No.
And he's just kind of felt like untouchable. And he has been. He has been. That's
they call him Teflon Don for a reason, right? I mean, he has. Up until now, the proverbial I could shoot someone on Fifth Avenue and I wouldn't lose supporters has proven true. I mean, January 6th, I think, was the ultimate example of that. Like, the guy incited a violent coup that almost got people, multiple people killed. Some people were killed, police officers injured, and like the government was almost overthrown. And he was sitting there, he lit the fire and sat there and threw the fuel on it and did not pay a price.
Nope.
And
so they gave him the keys to the castle back, walked him in the front door, and then pardoned 1,600 of the insurrectionists that had been arrested. I mean, it is bonkers.
But this thing, the Epstein thing, which is resurrected now after years, the guy's been dead for 6 years.
Right.
Right.
But it's the fact that it's been resurrected by his own people is like the best part. And I think that's why it's like, like addicts and stuff, like you can't help them until they want to help themselves kind of thing. Like that's how I feel about the MAGA cult right now. It's like they're finally helping themselves because they have been asking the same question. And it's the reason they kept showing up and giving him money and going to his rallies and voting for him is because they had this promise that deep in their souls, they thought, the QAnon people and that whole conspiracy that all the Democrats, whatever, they eat babies or whatever, is crazy stuff.
Yeah,
but
Democrats
also
and Hollywood and rich elites.
Right.
They drink the blood of young children to stay alive or some crazy bullshit.
Right. And but then also is this Epstein thing, which there are a lot of powerful people that are going to be on this list from all political spectrums.
Yeah.
There's going to be Democrats, powerful Democrats on there. There's going to be Donald Trump, as we know. So
in some capacity, which was not, I mean, look, and the Democrats, and this is where, at least so far, they've been handling this situation well, the Epstein situation, by joining into the chorus here, because they're like, look, we don't have anything to hide. And if there's one of ours on there, so be it. We'll whatever that means, then we will excommunicate them and we'll condemn them. And
they deserve it.
Prosecuted, then they should be. Exactly. Which is the right position.
We hold ourselves accountable. Sometimes we overcorrect, but for the most part, and specifically and especially for these heinous crimes in which people are actually really hurt, and lives ruined, something like this. I mean, go here's. I mean, not to use an island, but like cast them off to a deserted island and don't you dare come back.
Right. And not on the Lolita Express.
No, not that island, a different island.
Not that island. Well, that's why Speaker Johnson tucked tail and sent Congress into early recess because they didn't want to deal with it, because there's a bipartisan discharge petition getting sent around, which is basically forcing a vote on releasing the Epstein files, because normally the Speaker of the House controls what gets to the floor and what gets a vote. And normal rules of order, it goes through the Rules Committee or wherever, and then it comes out of committee, then it goes to the floor. But a discharge petition, if you get 218 people to sign it, that means that it has to be brought to the floor for a vote. But you have to be in legislative session for 7 days. There's all these rules. But so Johnson was like, okay, this is not going away. There's a lot of Republicans who are talking to their districts in their home state, in their home districts.
Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Hey, listen, we support Trump, but like, you kind of need to, you promised you were going to do this. If you need to you need to release the files. And then they're like, okay, Johnson is losing control of the caucus. And it could threaten his speakership. We'll see. But
Absolutely.
but I don't know about sending them into August recess early is going to help them, because if this is constituent driven, they're going to still pester people in their home districts.
This is where the people are helping themselves by finally waking up and realizing, hey, maybe all these people have been lying to us.
I hope so. Oh my God.
And then come with the pitchforks. I mean, honestly, this is like another, well, I mean, I have to be careful. No, not literally, but I mean, this is where, I remember I watched this TED Talk from years ago, and someday I'll show a clip from it on the show about, it was like Nick Hanauer, something like that, talking about the aristocracy in the United States and the rich people and the powerful people. And it's like how and this was in like 2012 or something like that. And he said, listen, the people are coming with their pitchforks. Now, these people
that was because of income inequality, right?
But it's all connected, because that's how these people became radicalized in the first place, is because of economic anxiety. It was an answer to the Obama election and the rise of the Tea Party. And like all of this has been drip, 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 led us to now. But like there are people in this country who believe these things. And I think
a lot of them.
In the truest sense of the word, I think that they care, sort of like, I mean, the conspiracy that all these people, and it's like, I'm like, do they care about the kids? Like, I'm trying to figure it out.
Weird,
or is it just the hatred of the elite? Like, I don't know what it is, but you know what I mean?
I think that's we should try to find a QAnon conspiracy expert. They're out there that people have written books about this to explain what the nexus is between this whole pedophilia elites thing and QAnon and MAGA, and like,
what about Denver? I wonder how much Denver would know about this.
We have to ask Den when he gets back. But I mean, it's we should do a show on that, because I think that it's, given everything that's going on now, I think that would be interesting just to do a deep dive on it. But
absolutely.
But before we go, we wanted to bring up something else, because so much has happened since the last time we were all together on the stakes. Like, it's crazy. Again, living a week in politics is a lifetime. It feels like it's been 10 years. Michelle did something that was absolutely amazing. If you follow our show, or if you signed up for our Seneca Snapshot newsletter, if you haven't, please go to senecaproject.us and sign up so you could get updates on what we do every week. But on our show Over It on Saturdays, the Coffee and Conversation version, we debuted this video, because last week, it's just been a week exactly. Wow. While all this Epstein shit was unfolding, Congress was still in session, cutting stuff and doing, harm to the American people.
And proposing laws that would rename parts of the Kennedy Center after Melania Trump's. Like, again, going to the heart of our culture in every way possible.
And that actually ties into this, because they've been going for all aspects of our American way of life, including going after the arts and culture very early on. And they made it official. They finally defunded PBS and NPR in a 2 a.m. vote in the middle of the night, while everybody else was paying attention to this Epstein crazy stuff and Trump acting like a fool. Congress did they passed what's called a rescission package. And basically what that is mean that they take back money that had already previously been approved and appropriated by Congress.
Right.
So that codified the DOJ cuts. So we had mentioned this a little bit on air last week, but it hadn't gone to Trump's desk yet, because the House still needed to pass it in order for it to become law so Trump could sign it. And they did on Friday. And so Michelle, who grew up like many of us, watching PBS and Mr. Rogers and Sesame Street, and we all have such fond memories, was so moved that she decided to put together, to write, produce, and voice an amazing tribute to Mr. Rogers and PBS and the larger idea of what happened to our kindness. So I think we should play that.
Yeah.
Yes?
Yes, I'll play it right now.
Okay.
In the late 1960s, America faced unrest and division. But even then, some things still mattered, like protecting children and the stories that shaped them. PBS funding was on the chopping block. One man stood up to defend it. On May 1st, 1969, Mr. Rogers spoke directly to U.S. Senator John Pastore, who had never seen his show.
And I'm proud
But that day,
to present Mr. Rogers to you now. Go ahead.
All right, Rogers, you got the floor.
something broke through.
I'm very much concerned, as I know you are, about what's being delivered to our children in this country. We deal with such things as getting a haircut, or the feelings about brothers and sisters, and the kind of anger that arises in simple family situations. This is what I give. I give an expression of care every day to each child to help him realize that he is unique. I end the program by saying, you've made this day a special day by just your being you. There's no person in the whole world like you, and I like you just the way you are. And I feel that if we in public television can only make it clear that feelings are mentionable and manageable, we will have done a great service for mental health.
Do you narrate it?
I'm the host, yes, and I do all the puppets, and I write all the music, and I write all the scripts.
Well, I'm supposed to be a pretty tough guy, and this is the first time I've had goosebumps for the last 2 days.
Could I tell you the words of one of the songs which I feel is very important?
Yes.
And it starts out, what do you do with the mad that you feel? And that first line came straight from a child. What do you do with the mad that you feel when you feel so mad you could bite? When the whole wide world seems oh so wrong, and nothing you do seems very right. It's great to be able to stop when you've planned a thing that's wrong, and be able to do something else instead, and think this song. I can stop when I want to, can stop when I wish, can stop, 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 anytime. And what a good feeling to feel like this, and know that the feeling is really mine. Know that there's something deep inside that helps us become what we can. For a girl can be someday a lady, and a boy can be someday a man.
I think it's wonderful. I think it's wonderful. Looks like you just earned the $20 million.
"55 years later, Republicans voted in the middle of the night to gut PBS children's programming. Not because we can't afford it, but because they've forgotten what really matters. Fred Rogers didn't just defend public television. He defended our childhoods and the soul of this nation. And in the end, kindness won the day. What happened to the country that raised us on Mr. Rogers and Sesame Street? And what do we do with the mad that we feel when they rip away our magic?
Love is at the root of everything. All learning, all parenting, all relationships. Love or the lack of it.
It's so good.
Thank you.
So good.
I made the damn thing. I've seen it. I can't tell you how many times. I just little snippets of it over and over and over again, just, editing it. And I just still seeing the whole thing together. It's just, Julie said it best when we did the show on Saturday that really resonated with me. She talked about the sorrow the sorrow that we're all feeling.
Yep.
It's nostalgia, which if you watch Mad Men, Don Draper says nostalgia, it's potent, but no, that's not what he says at all. I'm totally messing up the quote now. It's delicate but potent. It's delicate but potent. And I'm someone who, I don't know, that stuff really just, it gets to me and it matters. And I think it matters to a lot of us. And the sorrow mixed with the nostalgia and, you know, the memory of the joy that programming brought us as children, it shaped us into the people that we are now. And, you know, I hope that people will go watch. There's a great documentary about Mr. Rogers. It's called Won't You Be My Neighbor? Grab a tissue. It's wonderful. And then there's also a film where Tom Hanks plays Mr. Rogers as well. Matthew Reese plays a reporter who's been given an assignment by Esquire magazine that's based on a true story.
Yep.
Who had a difficult relationship with his own father, and he was able to, you know, come to terms with that with the help of Mr. Rogers as he was writing this story. And it's I know. I'm like I'm gonna cry just thinking about it. But it's these stories, the storytelling matters.
Yes.
We have to tell these stories because we have to be reminded who we are, what matters to us in our fellow human beings, our fellow Americans. And when they are taking away the magic and when they are taking away the things, what are we going to do about it?
That's right. What do we do with the mad that we feel?
Right.
And I think that's this is Michelle's superpower. When she feels it, she's able to create these beautiful storytelling pieces that hit you in the feels. And that's what motivates people. That's what you realize what matters. And that's so important that people feel motivated to fight for something.
Yeah.
And in this moment, we do feel a lot of sorrow because there's been so much loss. We've lost decency. We're losing our rights. We're losing the things that we as kids growing up that we used to have, that were the purity and the innocence of those childhoods. There's so much, but it's not completely gone. And it reminds us that kindness isn't weakness. It reminds us that we are better as a country than what our government is doing right now. There are more of us, as Joe says, and I used to say all the time, and Joe kind of reminds me now, Jojo from Jurors, our good friend, that there are more of us than there are of them.
Yeah.
And but we have to reinvigorate people into fighting the good fight and why it matters. And that's what we do every day here at Seneca Project. And we're grateful for all the people that continue to support us, that come and watch us, that have supported us financially, that share our videos. All of that really matters. And we just want to say thank you for that. And to keep those donations coming in. That's how we stay operating. And the more we have, the more we can do. And you know, we've got midterms. We're staring down
it's true.
Down the barrel right now of midterms.
It's true.
And we're in the fight now. We've got to stay
closer
in the fight now.
Yeah, we're closer than we think, and it will be here in no time. And, you know, I just want to remind people too, if you live in a state that has an election coming up, whether it's like, you know, a governor's race or something else, is that you're going to see a lot of ads on your TV. You're going to see a lot of ads and a lot of them are negative. They're fear-based. And that's the strategy because it works. It works. But on the other side is this stuff.
Yep.
Because it has to be multi-pronged approach to communicating with people, because you have to give people a reason to get up and go cast their ballots. You have to give them a reason to have hope, because the hopelessness, I think, is what has hit a lot of us since November. Is like, it feels like, well, you can say all these horrible slurs, you can do this, you can take away rights, and apparently nothing matters. And if you haven't watched it, please go watch the South Park episode from last night, because they talk about this. They talk about the hopelessness that people feel. And like Cartman, who's like the little Archie Bunker character, is looking around and he's always the one saying the most offensive stuff. And he's like, why isn't anyone like, this isn't fun for me anymore, because you know, and that's what it, and
do not watch it with your children. The South Park is for, you know, adults only.
That's part of this, Tara, and the people at home, if you don't know this, is that they were in negotiations with Paramount about streaming rights for their shows. Now, it wasn't ownership of the show. It wasn't ownership of the IP or anything like that. It was just, it was just distribution. And they got them. They hired a lawyer out of California who was a real pit bull. And they reached a deal for $1.5 billion.
With Paramount.
With Paramount and Paramount Plus, right?
The same Paramount that CBS is trying to merge with. That's why CBS has capitulated to Trump and all that. Okay, just to be clear so people can follow along.
Yeah, so $1.5 billion. And then 3 days later, they put up this show, which completely knights them in all the ways. And the thing is too, and there's also a great documentary about how they make South Park that is worth watching. They start at the beginning of the week, they write it, they do the whole thing themselves. That's why everything is so current. It's not weeks ago.
Right.
Like they mentioned Colbert in this. They're like, do you want to end up like Colbert? There is so much that is so current just in the last few days, and it aired last night. Go find it. Go watch it. It's all over the news.
Just be prepared. Okay.
Yeah,
there's some very shocking things there, but it is worth it. And it is the biggest FU.
Oh my God.
Donald Trump and everything they're doing.
He's going to sue them.
Imagine. Oh,
he's
for
going to
sure.
sue them.
I just hope the 1.5 billion check cleared. I just hope the check is cleared. I hope they got like a signing bonus. Like, you know, when you're an athlete, you get the signing bonus, and then the rest is like, well, you have to perform, you have to hit certain benchmarks. I hope they got some money up front and it cleared.
Right. I mean, because listen, and part of the message was like, is Donald Trump, I'm going to sue you. I'm going to sue you, because they know. And like they even say at one point, you know, oh God, they canceled that show. What show are they going to cancel next? Because they're saying, I dare you.
Yeah.
Because Trey Parker and Matt Stone have been doing this show. This is the 27th season. This show came out when I was in a sophomore in high school.
I was in college.
Yeah. And like they have been at it and they don't care.
Like
because they're like, I don't care. Come and sue me.
Yeah. And that just,
come and get me.
I can't wait to see the reaction.
Oh, it's going to be
as this unfolds, because wow.
Yeah.
Well, on that note,
another
edition of The Stakes in the books. That's right. Keep hope alive. We are. And we'll see you on Saturday for Coffee and Conversation. And if you would love to retweet or post our PBS video, please do. We also have our big beautiful betrayal ad that is out as well.
I'll show that on the way out.
That is our way of just needling folks a little bit about the truth behind the budget bill that's out there, because people will have to answer for that during this August recess. So we've got lots of content and things. Please like and subscribe, and we will see you guys on Saturday, and God knows what'll happen between now and then. See you then.
Bye, everyone.
Oh, South Park.
Donald Trump betrayed you. Did you know Donald Trump's big, beautiful bill is taking away your health care? It's closing hospitals in your communities. It's kicking your mom out of her nursing home. It's taking food away from hungry children. And it doesn't even reduce our debt. All to make these guys richer. It was all a lie. Does that sound beautiful to you?